Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Jared at 3Cs. I'm excited. The clouds are covering the sun for a split second so I can do this. Otherwise I'm getting blinded. Very excited. Look at, we got the brand new 2025 Beta 300 RX two-stroke behind me. It's an exciting day. I'm leaving at noon. I'm taking the kids out west. We're going to go to Colorado, Utah, and Arizona, check out all the state parks along the way. So I'm going to be gone for 10 days, but I wouldn't be the hardest working beta channel on internet if I didn't come in and at least do some videos until noon. So I'm here on Saturday till noon, then I'm hopping in my van and I'm out of here. So let's flip this camera around and check out this new bike. Man, this thing is sweet. It is so awesome to look at. This RX beta is heading in the right direction with this model. And I'm just crying for one of these to be an off-road weapon at some point. I just am so excited for the future. If beta could just give me a 200 and a 300 woods weapon in this form. So let's first talk about this bike and why it's cool and all the features they did to it. So a lot of differences between this and the 2024 model. So we'll kind of start in the front. Wheel package is roughly the same. We have the same Starcross tires on here, the Michelins. I think they work pretty good. I'm a big fan of them. Stiff suspension on the RX model. They always have. So you know, RX is moto based, right? So this is not a woods friendly bike as far as suspension goes. It sits way higher. I'm 6'4", and when I'm flat footed, or when I'm on the bike, I am barely flat footed. Legs are extended all the way. So this thing sits extremely high right out of the crate. By far, one of the tallest bikes Beta's ever produced. And they did some porting and a new cylinder head this year. And you can kind of hear it. I can start it in a minute. Why not? And then we can kind of hear that that raw power. Almost sounds like a 500. We did build a KX 500 Beta earlier this year, and it kind of has like that same like lopey sound to it. So pretty cool. It does retain the single spark plug design. You can see in the center here, there's no spark plug in the middle of the engine mounts there. So single spark plug. They went to, and this is new for this year, a 1.8 gallon gas tank, and that's why we can see all this. Look how much room there is in here. It's incredible. You can literally see all of this. So moto guys, 1.8 gallon is fine. I put about a gallon in these bikes, so you can see it's right about there. New for 2025 is going to be the standard foot peg design. So this is the foot pegs that come on the standard RR models, and I have 90% of my race edition guys wanting to go back to this foot peg. It cleans out better, and it seems like it grabs you better. So the race edition, for a while, they thought it was an upgrade to have the other black pegs. We don't think it is. Usually we go right back to the standard foot peg. This year, it's a whole new silencer. You can see how much shorter this thing is. Finally, look at this. Like normally there's like an extra couple inches, and it's a lot wider and fatter. For moto, obviously they can shorten it, make it a little bit louder. It sounds so crisp. So it really looks better. If you look at it, it's smaller, maybe more proportion to it. And as we're back here, you'll notice the subframe is completely different than the 2024. So this is that aluminum subframe. It's like a three-piece. Can't see it because they're frame protectors, but that's aluminum behind there, all the way up around, all new design. And this mimics the 450 RX. And the fact that it's got their button, because it's all the same subframe as the 450. So different rear fender, it's a three-piece. That's kind of cool how they can make this white, because typically in the past, this was one piece of plastic all the way around the back. So whatever color the fender was, that's what color your sides were. So it's kind of cool. They're able to do something a little bit different. And I think that's why they did that. They kind of wanted to show that they made it a little bit different. One of the things about the RX model is that it's just a two-position fuel shutoff. We have off and on. There's no reserve on this model. So two-position, which is fine for those guys. They don't need the reserve. I noticed right away on the key and carb here, there's not even a slot to put like the TPS sensor. Not needed. TPS is just there for oil injection, but it's a completely different carb. That's pretty cool. If you look at it, I can't get my gimbal to get into that little spot there, but so I did notice that right away. There's no more TPS sensor on the back side of the carb. Not even a spot for it. This is a 5-speed gearbox, which is new for this year. So might be a little harder for my guys to turn this into a woods weapon, because that's a 5-speed, not a 6-speed. So a little more of a distance between what we're all looking for maybe in the woods. Because we're going to get to, you know, why we loved this model so much here in a second. But let's check out these handlebars. This thing is so sweet. We just have a kill switch and a start button. There's no more gadgetry, no more big blunky stuff up, or blocky stuff up on top. We do have the map switch. We have wet and dry, and as the bike's running, you can see that. Normal gas fill. What's interesting is Beta put a check valve here. This is new. Instead of that green or blue clunky thing that goes on the bottom of the gas cap and falls off, it is now on the outside here. So that's pretty cool. That's where I think your check valve needs to be, is in line, not inside that green gas cap. We have videos talking about how that cap comes off the inside. They did get the new radiators for 2025, so it can turn a lot sharper. So this is the old school radiator cap again. Hard to tell really on the stand here, but it does turn quite a bit sharper. As you can see, it's got it used to be like a nut behind here, and now it's just a washer. So that's how much they've increased the turning radius. Moto track, you're just leaning the bike over. But if you're trying to woods convert it, that's pretty cool. A pretty cool idea there. Do take note, being the motocross version, there's no handguards and no skid plate. If you were going to be a woods guy converting this, you were going to buy your handguards and you were going to buy your skid plate anyway. So the stock skid plates, whatever, not such a big talking point. Let's kind of pop this seat. Not sure if I can do it with one hand because these ones are a little tougher to do. Oh, I did it. Nice. Check that out. So I'm going to slide it back. Now these seat covers and this seat foam is extremely stiff. Like, that's not enjoyable. You're going to buy a seat right away. I mean, I'm pushing pretty hard on that. That's just going to rip you apart. So not exciting. And we look in here, and starter solenoid, battery, so clean. There's hardly any wires. We have like 3 things running back here. Just the way a 2-stroke should be, right? Like a carbureted 2-stroke. It's a beautiful thing. Let me pull here first. I haven't taken this off yet, so let's give it. It's pretty cold out here, being October, so well, there it goes. Look how clean, and oh man, that is so cool. Look how organized this is. I wish that was down a little bit more like that. Perfect. So ECU, guys, I just love the wiring on this bike. It's always been a gripe of mine, right, with Betas, is their wiring, and they add too much stuff, and then we have failure points. This is so sweet. Air filter is the same one. Rock it right out, rock it back in. Easy to clean this air box. Man, I'm just dying for a woods version on this, and we'll talk about that more in a second. So the last thing, I just checked my notes to make sure I'm covering all of the bullet points with Beta. It's a little bit stiffer frame. They say the backbone's a little stiffer, corner's better. That's cool. None of us local guys are ever going to notice that. But they did change the frame here, and it's got the updated master cylinder now. So a little more volume in here. That way your brakes aren't going to fade as fast. The old master cylinder never gave us any problems, honestly, for 10, 15 years. Well, we started with the Beta in 2011. So 2011 to 2024, 13 years, it was fine. So this is new, updated. The RX does come with the like billet fill plug here. It comes with a black foot lever. And we usually right away go to like one of those updated fast clasps back here. Because look how much free play, I shouldn't say free play, how much play there already is in that brake lever. You want to tighten that up. They make a pretty cool aftermarket piece that goes here and tightens all that up. Oil changes are going to be easy because they didn't move the drain bolt. It's right there in the bottom. So simple. Even if you have a skid plate on this thing, pull the bolt, put it back in, fill it up on top here. Now one thing I noticed is these are black hoses, and as I was talking here, I was looking over here. This is, it used to be blue last year, which it's still, thankfully, no thermostat or anything in this bike, right? So simple. Comes out of this side, back in that side. No extra, like, wings coming off of here. Very simple design. Keeps it way away from the pipe. So that's pretty cool that it's, I mean, I liked the blue last year. I think they were using Samco. Looks like Beta went in-house with the coolant hose kit this year. Maybe a little cheaper for them to make this, but they didn't add any color to it, which is fine. But man, if those were blue like they used to be, it just like pops the bike, gives it that factory look, which we all like. So maybe let's, 19-inch rear rim. So that's one difference on this thing compared to the other models from Beta, the other 2-stroke models, is that this is a 19-inch rear rim, and it only shares this rim with the 450 RX. There's only 2 models that use this rim. Okay, let's talk about this bike and what customers would want to do to it. So last year I was selling the RX 300 to a lot of folks that were converting it to a woods racer. So with the 6-speed gearbox last year, it was a little bit easier because I don't know if the 5-speed is going to be all that exciting in the woods. They're making it tougher and tougher to convert this back, but the price is pretty appealing. Even for 2025, this bike is $94.99, so we'll say $9,500. And the 300 race edition, I made some notes, they are $10,700. So, you know, you're like a $1,200 difference. So $1,200 less, I should say, for this. And you've already got the coolant hose kit, and you have the race wire harness. That's what we call this, when you just have the start and the kill switch. This is all we want. I just want this in a 200 two-stroke with an 18-inch rear rim, the standard KYB suspension, and leave the bigger tank on it, like the, you know, the 2.5 gallon instead of the 1.8. That's all we want. We want this simple design for us off-road racing. Beta has the race models, but they're not. Like, you get the headlights, you get the taillights, you just get all this extra clunky stuff. They're actually still wired for turn signals, and to me, that's not a race edition. I'm really looking forward to the day where Beta gives me at least two. Just give me a 200 and a 300, and man, it's going to be a game changer for us. We're going to be able to compete with that XC model a little bit better from KTM. So that's kind of my walk around on this. So if you were going to convert this for 2025 into a woods weapon, suspension's going to have to get revalved. You're going to have to send that out, probably right back to Beta. We have a video coming out on the channel. We sent my son, Braxton, we sent his suspension out to Beta. It just came back, but like I mentioned, we're leaving to go out west for a couple days. So we will finish that video when we get home. It was way too stiff before. He wrote it, we boxed it up. I'm going to show you guys that whole process, so you'll be comfortable doing it. So this is going to have to get revalved. You're going to have to buy yourself the IMS gas tank. You're going to want the 3.5 gallon, and I'm pretty sure it's still going to fit on here. Even though they stiffen the frame in the rear, I think it's still going to fit the IMS tank on there. And I have a lot of guys looking to buy just like an 18-inch rear rim, right? Get back to that woods-sized rim. So those are the three things right away: suspension, gas tank, and wheel. And then just add your guards. Add your radiator guards, add your hand guards, add your skid plate, and you're starting $1,200 less. So my only real concern this year with this model is going to be the 5-speed gearbox versus the 6-speed. Oh, and buy a seat. You're not going to use that seat, or at least seat foam and a cover. Just literally just peel that off there. It's not going to be enjoyable to use that. So one little last side note is the Beta stand. Here it is, and I don't trust them at all. Like in the showroom, all of my RX models, I put them on like a dealership stand. This is super flimsy, and I'm not trying to take away from the incredible engineering and the hard work they did to design the bike, but don't trust these. If you have a customer come in the showroom and they just barely tap on the handlebar, they want to fall over with these, way too big of a lean angle. It's supposed to be, you can like push it in here and use it as like a fork stop as well. So that way, like when you're traveling, you're not compressing the forks too much. So that would slide in there and hold it. That's my comments on it. I'm excited about it. I just hope Beta continually evolves the race models closer and closer to this. We do have videos on the channel of the 2025 Cross Trainer and the new RRX Pro. We actually rode a lot of those last Sunday. Again, Jared at 3C's Recreation. I am out of here in a couple hours. I'm heading west. Going to go have some family time. Enjoy the ride, and we'll see you on the trail. All right, I told you guys I was going to start it, and I almost forgot. I was putting everything away. Got the bike back out. So I started it and ran it for like 2 seconds. It's not really warmed up yet. I'm not going to warm it up all the way. I'm not going to ride it around for a while. So this thing starts so incredibly fast. This thing sounds so good. So crisp. Like, I'm not even revving it. Like when I do this, I'm really giving it like quarter throttle. Hear that like da-dung, da-dung, da-dung. Looks like it sounds like a big old cam in it. Freaking thing is awesome. So, all right, guys, that is a Beta 300 RX 2-stroke. Oh, here's the maps, wet and dry. Pretty cool.